Okay, so coming down to make our vegetarian shepherd's pie. I am actually making quite a few substitutions to this. It's one of those recipes where you can do that. The reason I'm making substitution is because I forgot to take a list with me shopping, and I forgot that I'd run out of certain things, and I forgot some of the things that I needed. So just talk through what we've got. I've got mushrooms. I've got a mixture of chestnut and white mushrooms there. You can use all the same or a mixture. I've got my garlic, got tomato puree, which is the tomato paste. I haven't got fresh thyme, so I've got dried thyme. You're obviously going to use less because the flavour's more concentrated. Got my onion, got my garlic. I had a tomato left in the freezer that was left over from making sandwiches. I've just chopped that up. That's going to go in. Got the stock cube. I will do some water to make up the stock, but I'll pour it in. I did try to get quinoa yesterday. They don't have it in the local shop, so you can substitute that for something like couscous, bulgur wheat. I am going to be using some semolina because what we're just using for is just to firm up that the fluid that comes from it. I forgot to get carrots, so I did have a pack of this carrot and swede in the freezer, so I'm just going to put that in instead. It's probably going to make more than it says in the recipe, but I've got family coming and I'll freeze it, so that's fine. Potatoes. I don't peel potatoes. I've just got a pack of potatoes and I'm going to do all of those, so it's more than what's in the recipe. The recipe goes for butter and yoghurt to go in the potatoes. Forgotten I'd run out of yoghurt, so I will be using oat milk as my daughter-in-law's lactose intolerant, so I'll use oat milk for that, and butter, so she's alright with a little bit, but so that's how I'm going to do my mashed potatoes. So don't feel that you have to follow the recipe. If there's things in it that you don't like, you can substitute it. So I'm going to put my potatoes on so they can boil while I'm cooking the inside. So I am just half in and then doing each half to 4. I've just boiled the kettle. I've put some salt in there. So I'll just put enough water in to cover the potatoes. I'll then put the oven on to warm up, because I'm going to be cooking other things in there at the same time. So it talks about having an oven-proof pan that you cook your filling in. You can use transfer it all into a casserole dish if you prefer. I'm going to wait and make that decision once I see how much this it makes up. I'm making more mash anyway because I like to have a decent mash layer on the top of my shepherd's pie, and if there's any left over, it's quite versatile for doing other things as well. So there we go, got nothing there, just putting the kettle back on to boil, so I've got some hot water for my stock. There we go. So I'm going to put that on to boil and then put my oven on and then start cooking. So I'm going to put the pan on to heat. The recipe says 3 tablespoons of oil. I won't be using that much. So what is interesting about this recipe, and I think sometimes we forget to do that in our busy schedules, you're cooking the onion slowly, and that just allows the flavour to come out and to sweeten it up a bit, rather than cooking it quickly. So it's just giving it time to cook through and get those flavours out. And you're letting those cook on their own for a few minutes. Here we go. So that's about 5 minutes. You can see we've got nice colour on those onions. So I'm going to add the garlic. Mushrooms. So you add your carrots in as well, which should be diced. I've just got those vegetables out of the freezer. I should have got them out earlier. I'm just going to give them a blast in the microwave just to soften them up, just to defrost it slightly. But then of course I'll have to let it come back up to temperature when I add them into the bowl. So what else we got? Going to add some thyme, probably about a teaspoon. Then I'll add tomato. So the mushrooms are going to give it a nice colour as well for Shepherd's pie. I'm also going to add in the stock cube. So tip down slightly. Just a quick sort of note about these vegetables actually. I tend to buy these packs when they're reduced and stick them in the freezer. They're great for doing soups, which is actually my intention with this, but when I hadn't got carrots I remembered this. So that's going to go in. But yeah, they're nice packs to have as well for doing soup. So we're just going to give that a few minutes to come back up to heat and to cook through. You'll see we've got some fluid in there coming from the mushrooms, and this is what the quinoa will soak up and just help to bind that together. So if you've got a pan big enough, yeah, put your smash on the top, but there's nothing then to stop you for transferring this into a casserole dish. This is where you're going to add your quinoa. So what I'm going to do is 2 tablespoons, and you're going to sprinkle it in, and I'm just going to measure it out over there, and I'm just going to sprinkle it in so you don't get it all in one big lump, just to spread it out a bit. There we go. And get tomato puree, so just there we go, and peas. Just bear with me. Will go in after this. So I'm going to stir this in. And you see how it's starting to thicken up now. All beginning to stick together. There we go. So now we're going to have peas. I'm just going to stir those in, and then I'm going to add in the water that would make up my stock. There we go. Actually, I think that's quite a nice way of making a gravy for something like this. If it's getting too thick for you, then you can, of course, add some more liquid. now I'm going to turn the heat off for that, and then I'm just going to wait for the potatoes to cook and get those mashed. Okay, so the potatoes are cooked, added some butter and some milk. I may add some more. You do want this to be a fairly soft consistency to make it easier for spreading over the top of your filling. There we go. So now we can start putting it over the top of our shepherd's pie. So this probably is where you could probably do with 2 spoons. And you don't want to put too much weight on it. So if there's any mash left over, you can keep it to serve along with this if people want more mash. Otherwise, what I would do is use it for another meal. But if you've got plenty of mash on it, this is a complete meal in itself. You can add other vegetables to go with it, but we just quite often just will eat it on its own. So recipe's got the cooking time for in the oven, and then to stick it under the grill afterwards. You may not need to, so that is up to you. I quite like leaving a rustic top on the, because that's what tends to catch the colour. Got some left over there, that's going to go in a dish, ready to eat during the week. And now this can just go straight into the oven. So this is where having a pan that will go in the oven has its advantages. Otherwise, casserole dish, not a problem at all. Okay, so the potatoes are cooked, added some butter and some milk. I may add some more. You do want this to be a fairly soft consistency to make it easier for spreading over the top of your filling. I'm just going to put some more milk in. There we go. So now we can start putting it over the top of our shepherd's pie. So this probably is where you could probably do with 2 spoons. And you don't want to put too much weight on it. So if there's any mash left over, you can keep it to serve along with this if people want more mash. Otherwise, what I would do is use it for another meal. But if you've got plenty of mash on it, this is a complete meal in itself. You can add other vegetables to go with it, but we just quite often just will eat it on its own. So recipe's got a cooking time for in the oven, and then to stick it under the grill afterwards. You may not need to, so that is up to you. I quite like leaving a rustic top on the, because that's what tends to catch the colour. Got some left over there. That's going to go in a dish, ready to eat during the week. And now this can just go straight into the oven. So this is where having a pan that will go in the oven has its advantages. Otherwise, casserole dish, not a problem at all.